Hey, it's Randy from Funeral Funds of America. In this video, I'm going to share with you the actual pricing for $25,000 worth of burial, cremation, final expense life insurance, or funeral funds for a 78-year-old male. Now, first thing I recommend is just go to our website, and we've got these free quoters on just about every page. Just select the state that you live in, the coverage amount, your birthday info, and the rest of the info, and then click Get Quotes Now. It will take you to a page that's going to show you the best companies that are going to offer the lowest prices that you can possibly qualify for. And you can also call us at 888-862-9456. One of our agents can do all that for you, and that way you don't have to worry about anything at all. But really, the first thing we recommend, when talking to a 78-year-old male is just asking them, how much do you feel is appropriate for your final expense needs? And typically that's going to be either cremation or burial. So let's talk about that. The average cost of a cremation right now, if you come home in a cardboard box or an urn, is going to be between $1,000 to $2,000. If you're going to have some sort of ceremony, celebration of life, remembrance ceremony, it's probably going to be $3,500 to $4,500 on average. So as far as coverage amounts for that cremation where you're going to come home in a cardboard box or an urn, we would probably recommend maybe $5,000 to $7,000 worth of coverage. Now, you might be going, well, Randy, if the cremation is going to be about $2,000 and the coverage is $5,000, what's going on with the difference? Well, the difference is, I'm sure our 78-year-old male, wants to live until hopefully like age 88, another 10 years. And we know that prices go up over time due to inflation. So what we're doing by getting the $5,000 or so is we are locking in rates, at his current youngest age, and then including a little extra coverage in there just to cover inflation as time goes on. We want to inflation-proof that plan, so hopefully you don't need to make any changes or add any more coverage in the future. But, so it takes care of inflation there, but also, God forbid, if you died a little sooner than anybody thought, it provides a little extra coverage on the front end, maybe to take care of some other final expenses, like maybe medical bills or credit cards or something that if you'd had the gift of time, you would have gotten those paid off. So it works really terrific. It protects on the back end with the inflation side, and on the front end, just maybe some other unexpected bills. So if you're going to do the cremation and the ceremony, we'd probably recommend $7,000 to $10,000 or something like that. And again, it protects the policy on the backside by covering inflation, and then on the front side, there's a little bit extra money just in case there's any surprise expenses. Now, for a burial, the average cost of a burial right now in the United States is right around $10,000, more or less. And, if you walk into a funeral home with a $10,000 check, chances are they're going to get it done. It's hard to imagine they would say, nope, we don't want your money, walk out the door, and you could just walk a couple blocks down to their competitor and give them the money instead. Just understand at $10,000, that's the cost today. It's not going to be anything fancy. And if you're a 78-year-old male and you live another 10 years, that's not going to be enough. That's not going to cover inflation in the coming years. So what we would probably recommend is generally somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000. If your budget's tight, if you're on a fixed or limited income and your budget's tight, you can look at that $10,000 and then we can see about adding more coverage later. But by the same token, if you've got the room to take care of it now, probably the $15,000 would be a little bit better because it inflation-proofs the plan. Rarely do we see 78-year-olds getting 20 or even 25,000, maybe 17,500 in some cases. But yeah, we always recommend, avoid overinsuring too, because sometimes somebody will say, hey, I want to get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and they waited until age 78, and it's just expensive because they waited until age 78, and then they go, wow, that's expensive for all that coverage, so I'm not going to do anything at all. That's just too expensive. And it's really their fault that they waited this long. And now they're saying they're not going to do anything because they chose to wait too long. And now they're just going to make their kids or family members pay for their funeral because they're so ornery. Because if they can't get everything, they're not going to do anything. And that means their children are probably going to have to put this on credit cards at 26% interest and pay this off for years and years and years. So what we actually recommend is really just get this insurance, keep it for final expenses, and keep that policy. And then if you want, we can help you with another policy that would be just for the kids. And that's a really good way to kind of break the two up. And that way, if your needs ever change, you've got two separate policies and it's easy to adjust that way. So that's what we recommend. Now, the other thing we recommend is first day coverage or benefits. And we do not recommend those plans with 2-year waiting periods. We don't recommend those at all. Yeah, stay away from those. I'll talk about those in a minute. But what first day coverage or benefits means is that, if your policy was approved and issued today and you passed away tomorrow with first day coverage, that the insurance company would have to write that check for $10, $15, $20, $25,000. That's exactly what you want. It's the best coverage. It's the lowest pricing. Now, some people would say, Randy, I do like that first day coverage, but I'm not in the best of health, and I'm not sure I would even qualify based off that. And we say, well, that's our concern, not your concern, from an insurance standpoint. And what we mean by that is we work with a bunch of different insurance companies. They all have different health questions. They all have different underwriting. And right now, we're getting about 90 to 95% of the people that we help, we're able to get into first day coverage or benefits. So we're really good at what we do. I guess kind of the only reason we wouldn't be able to get you first day coverage or benefits would be if you were if you'd waited too long and you really had some significant health issues kind of going on. Like maybe you had a terminal illness and you're going to pass away in the next 12 months, or you had dementia, or you were on dialysis, or you were in a hospital or in a nursing home, something like that. If that were the case, we would typically refer you out to a different insurance company. And then the other thing that seems to happen every week is we'll get somebody who will call up and they'll say, hey, we had a family member pass away this last week. They didn't have any insurance. We don't have any money. And now the body's down at the funeral home, and the funeral home director is not going to do anything until he gets a check in his hand. So we need this insurance really quick so that we can get the funeral home director paid off and get this funeral completed. And we have to let them know that there's no insurance company in the United States that is going to offer a policy on a dead person. You actually have to be alive to qualify for this insurance. And it's really too bad, from the family's perspective, that this family member passed away and they didn't have insurance. They never did anything about it. And they knew they were going to die someday. They probably thought about getting this insurance, but just never did it. Just procrastinated, right? And, and then they were probably feeling fine until one day they didn't feel fine. And then they just went and died. Now the family member's got to clean up this mess and pay the bills. And most of the time that bill's going to have to go on credit cards paying 26% interest. So yeah, just don't be so selfish. Just get this insurance. None of us knows when we're going to die. Could be tomorrow, could be 20 years from now. But get this insurance now. You qualify at lower rates. And even if your budget's a little tight, just get what you can afford. We can always help you add more coverage later. So yeah, just, it's going to be a terrible legacy to leave behind if you don't take care of this, because nobody likes paying other people's bills. So yeah, don't be that person. One thing we don't recommend is plans with 2-year waiting periods, right? So Colonial Penn, their $9.95 plan, if you didn't know this already, it's a 2-year waiting period plan. Ouch. Yeah, ouch. Yeah. So yeah, and Colonial Penn's not the only company that offers those 2-year waiting periods. Like Mutual of Omaha, United of Omaha, they're lying there, AIG, Gerber. Gosh, there's a host of other insurance companies. And some of these companies have done an amazing job of convincing the American public that if they're over age 50, the only thing they're going to qualify for is a plan with a 2-year waiting period. And we just don't recommend that. And, really when we hear somebody say, hey, the only thing you qualify for is a 2-year waiting period if you're over age 50, we just kind of go, ha, 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 ha. Right? We laugh. We say, don't believe that nonsense, because we help people with first day coverage all day long. Now, our 78-year-old male is probably thinking he's pretty smart. He waited until age 78. He just got done watching that Colonial Penn $9.95 commercial, and he's so proud of himself because he's saying, I'm probably going to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, maybe even $50,000 for $9.95. And then he calls and talks with a Colonial Penn agent or looks up rates on their website like we've done for you here and sees that a 78-year-old male, 1 unit of coverage, $9.95 is only going to pay $468. Boy, I tell you what, that is not even enough for a cremation these days in any part of the country we know. And it wouldn't even matter because it's got a 2-year waiting period where it's not going to pay out any death benefit for any health or medical related cause. So yeah, why would you ever start out with something that's so inadequate? You know, there's some people that would say that, you know, these companies that offer these really super low teaser rates, they would say that, you know, these companies do that not because they want to sell you the teaser rate. The teaser rate's just to get you in the door, just to get you in their marketing funnel. And then from there, what they do is they get you on the phone and they show you the pittance of coverage that, you know, the plan would actually provide. And then they try to sell you into more significant amounts of coverage, which is much more profitable to them. So we would never say that Colonial Penn does anything like that, but some people seem fairly convinced. And I guess you can determine on your own if you think that may be the case, because $9.95 is only going to pay you $468. Now, we want to look at $25,000. The biggest issue with Colonial Penn is they max out at 15 units. So when you look at 15 units, that's only going to get you $7,000 worth of coverage. And you're going to get slapped with a 2-year waiting period on that one too. And it's like $150. So we don't recommend that. So we're going to look at, we're going to come over here. I want to show you two things. I want to just show you real quick $7,000 and $7,000. This is first day coverage. And remember, Colonial Penn, $7,000 is $149. First day coverage, that would be like around $86, $85, $86. Massively less for the same amount of coverage. So why would you ever go with the plan with the 2-year waiting period? But we're going to look at $25,000 here. And here we go. Depending on your budget, this may make your eyes, you know, hurt a little bit, but yeah. So $25,000 worth of coverage, first day coverage for a 78-year-old male. This can be right around $293, maybe $300-ish. So, you know, that's just driven by the fact that you're 78 years old. So, you know, ask yourself, do you really need $25,000, or can you get by with $10,000 or $12,500 or $15,000? That'll save a lot of money, brings it down into the more affordable area for most of the folks we help. Now, if money's not an issue, yeah, we can help you with this much coverage. We can get you more. But most of the people who help are on a fixed or limited income. So let's take a look here. Let's look at a couple other companies here. You'll be able to see all these different companies. But like, oh, look at this one. Like Lincoln Heritage. Fine company, I guess, but holy guacamole. Look at that pricing. It is level first day coverage, but holy guacamole. Look at that pricing. So they've got a deal where when you pass away, that they will supposedly call 2-3 different funeral homes and get the best pricing supposedly. And, you know, they may do a couple other things, but they charge for that. You know, it's not free. It's not free. So yeah, you know, it's like basically $394 versus, you know, $293, basically about $100 more a month. So you got to ask yourself, that's $100 more a month times 12 months. You would be paying an extra $1,200 a year. If our 78-year-old male makes it to age 88, you would end up overpaying roughly $12,000. So let me ask you this. Do you think it's worth paying an insurance company an extra $12,000 after 10 years to make 2 or 3 phone calls and maybe do a couple other things that might only take an hour or so to do? Wow. No. We recommend you keep that money in your own pocket. What we actually recommend is let us help you get qualified for one of these other insurance companies that are much lower price. And then what we offer on our website is a free funeral and estate planning guide. And all you do is you download that off our website, print it out. And once it's printed out, you fill it out. You write down who gets what and what goes where and what you want to happen after you're gone. And then when that's done, you keep it with your insurance policy. And now your family will, when they go and get those documents, they will know that you not only love them in life, You love them in your entire life, but you also love them in death when you wouldn't be here, because you protected them in life, and now you're protecting them when you're gone, actually when they need it the most. So what a wonderful legacy to leave behind, just that wonderful gift of love. And, we can help you with that legacy. So just go to funeralfunds.com. We've got a special quote for our YouTube visitors, funeralfunds.com/YouTube. And you can get the most discounts, the best rates. And you can also call us directly at 888-862-9456. One of our agents can help you with everything or answer any questions. But, if you've got an existing policy and you want us to price shop and to make sure you got the best deal, we can help you out with that. If you want to just see about adding more coverage, we can help you out with that. And then if you need brand new coverage or just have some questions, we can certainly help you out with that too. But we look forward to that day where we can help you get the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money. We will be blessed to help you with this at some point in the future. Until that day comes, you stay safe, you take care, you have a nice day. Bye-bye.